If you're asking how to rewire your nervous system without pills, without numbing yourself, without turning your life into an endless experiment with supplements and protocols, there's usually a very specific reason that question even came up. It's not curiosity. It's not optimization. It's the moment when you realize that thinking harder, resting longer, or trying to calm down hasn't actually changed how your body feels. And if you want the full reset that walks through this process in a clear, practical way, I put it all step by step in the guide, but even just understanding what's happening here tends to be a relief, because it finally explains why nothing you tried before really stuck. The first thing to understand is this: your nervous system is not broken. It's trained. Everything you're experiencing right now makes sense once you look at it through that lens. At some point in your life, being tense, alert, controlled, and switched on helped you function. It helped you cope. It helped you survive a period where slowing down wasn't an option. Your system learned that staying activated was useful. Over time, that state stopped being a response and became your baseline. And here's where most advice goes wrong. People talk about calming the nervous system as if it's a button you press. Breathe this way. Think this thought, relax harder. But the nervous system doesn't respond to commands. It responds to patterns. It learns through repetition, not intention. That's why pills seem so attractive. They don't teach anything. They override. They force shutdown chemically. Sometimes that's necessary, but it's not rewiring, it's muting. Rewiring without pills means changing what your system expects, not what you tell it. And what your system expects is based on thousands of small signals you send it every day. Signals that say, stay alert, be ready, don't fully let go. Most of those signals aren't emotional, they're structural. One of the biggest ones is how you move through your day without ever really ending it. Most people don't have a transition from doing to being. They just stop tasks. They close the laptop. They lie down, but their nervous system never gets a clear signal that the demand is over. So it stays open. It stays tracking. It stays slightly braced. Night comes, but the system doesn't stand down, because from its perspective, nothing was completed. That's why so many people sleep but don't recover. Their body is horizontal, but their nervous system is still working. And night after night, that teaches the system something very specific. Rest is not safe enough to fully enter. Over time, that becomes automatic. You don't choose it. It just happens. Another signal is how abruptly most people start their mornings. Alarms, urgency, immediate stimulation, mental load before the body is even fully online. Cortisol spikes before safety has a chance to register, so the system never gets a clean reset. Yesterday bleeds into today bleeds into tomorrow, and tension becomes the default setting. This is what people mean when they say they feel stuck in survival mode. Not panic. Not anxiety attacks, just a constant low-level readiness that never switches off. And you can't think your way out of that. You can't motivate your way out of it. You have to show your nervous system, repeatedly, that it no longer needs to stay armed. That's what rewiring actually is. It's not dramatic. It's not spiritual. It's boring and consistent. It's creating predictable moments where nothing is required of you and letting your system experience that without immediately filling the space. Not forcing relaxation, but removing pressure. When this starts working, it doesn't feel like a breakthrough. It feels like less resistance. Your body feels less tight. Your thoughts still show up, but they don't pull you as hard. Sleep deepens without effort. You wake up feeling like something actually happened overnight. And slowly, your baseline shifts. This is also why people fail when they try to relax. Relaxation still feels like a task to a system trained for survival. It feels like something you could do wrong. Rewiring happens when safety stops feeling suspicious. When nothing happening doesn't trigger the urge to distract, control, or brace. Your nervous system doesn't need to be convinced. It needs evidence. Repeated, boring evidence that life no longer requires constant vigilance. Once it gets that, it updates automatically. That's why this process doesn't rely on hacks or tricks. It relies on consistency. The guide walks through how to set up those signals in a way that actually lands, not intellectually, but physically. Because once your system learns a new baseline, you don't have to manage yourself anymore. Calm stops being something you chase. It becomes something that's there by default. If this explanation feels uncomfortably accurate, that's usually a sign your system has been doing its job for too long. You're not wired wrong. You're wired efficiently for an environment that no longer exists. And that wiring can be updated. That's what rewiring without pills really looks like. Not forcing change, not numbing symptoms, but teaching your nervous system that it's finally allowed to stand down.